Like many other African countries, food security remains a challenge in Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation with over 180 million people. With the waning price of oil, Nigeria's pressure to find other sources of revenue for government spending as well as stabilizing the economy from future external shocks has been heightened. Likewise, the government, recognizing the importance of agriculture in driving the country's economy, has put in place policies and programs to assure food and nutritional security, eradicate rural poverty, and create social stability. However, agricultural production constraints like drought, erratic and inadequate rainfalls, pests and diseases, poor soils, and lack of improved agricultural technologies have remained contributory factors to low agricultural productivity in Nigeria. The government of Nigeria had long recognized biotechnology as a powerful and promising technology capable of delivering a wide range of economic, social, and environmental benefits.
The vision to have a policy in biotechnology was well conceived in the early 2000s, and that was equally matched with a pronouncement to fund the institutional framework NAFDA that was set up. But due to paucity of funds, government was not able to do that. And so even the advocacy on promoting biotechnology, took off on a faulty foundation.
In 2001, the Federal Executive Council had approved biosafety guidelines to fast-track and encourage research and development of GMOs and regulation of modern biotechnology in the country. By December 2006, Nigeria had a national biosafety policy and a draft biosafety bill. However, the anti-GMO movement mounted very strong and spirited campaigns against these initiatives aimed at creating the necessary policy, legal and regulatory environments for research, development and commercialization of GMOs in Nigeria. To manage the unnecessary controversy being generated by the anti-GMO movement, there was a need for deliberate, planned and coordinated communication efforts among the various stakeholders in modern agriculture biotechnology.
The trip was undertaken by myself as the Director General and Mrs. Gidadu, who was a friend of Dr. Wambugu, who is the president or chairperson of the African Harvest. So they called the AATF office and we went there trying to see what we could do in conjunction with them. And then suddenly Nancy called us and said, "Oh, I have something for you to consider." And we said, "What is that?" He said, "The OFAB, that it is called the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology." Then we knew that was exactly what we needed. And we looked at it in a manner that Nigeria had to own OFAB. So we did not let it be just an affair for the National Biotechnology Development Agency alone, but we had to bring in the agricultural sector. And so we wrote to the Executive Secretary of the National Agricultural Research Council, ARCN. We also wrote to the Ministry of Environment. So we had a tripartite kind of agreement from science and technology to agriculture, and then of course to the Ministry of Environment.
And on 9th April 2009, AATF, in partnership with NAFDA and Agricultural Research Council, launched OFAB Nigeria chapter with a mission to enhance knowledge sharing and awareness on agricultural biotechnology that will raise understanding and appreciation of the technology, as well as create an enabling environment for informed and timely decision-making.
The Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology is a baby of the African Agricultural Technology Foundation. AAT have nurtured the idea as a platform from which biotechnology, which is an emerging technology at that time, to discuss issues around biotechnology. There were a lot of controversies around it, and the management of AATF then thought and decided to create a platform which will provide an avenue for stakeholders to come discuss issues around agricultural biotechnology.
The language biotech could have been another vocabulary that people could have been looking for definition of it, if not for OFAB.
OFAB Nigeria pursues 4 main objectives: to establish and manage a range of platforms to enhance understanding of biotechnology in agricultural productivity, to inform policy decision-making processes on matters of agricultural biotechnology through provision of factual, well-researched and scientific information, to forge strategic alliances for optimization of resources through convening encouraging inter-institutional networking and knowledge sharing in agricultural biotechnology sector, to enhance targeted capacity strengthening that will improve communication across all biotech sectors interested in Africa. To effectively execute its mandate and realize the set objectives, OFAB Nigeria has innovatively forged strategic alliances and partnerships with various institutions. OFAB Nigeria also engages the youth through its Catch Them Young initiatives aimed at instilling the culture of biotechnology into the future generation. What then did OFAB bring into the narratives of the agricultural biotechnology in Nigeria?
With OFAB, we became very focused, and we started, choosing crop by crop depending on the region of the country where we went. For example, with OFAB, when we went to the southwestern part of the country, we spoke, and got experts to talk about improvement on cocoa and also palm tree. When we went to the southeast, we went also more into cassava because of Umudike. And by the time we went to Katsina, we were talking about cotton, particularly the BT cotton. And there were others we really organized specifically on the BT cowpea, also on the sorghum. And that's how we got the ABS project to come to Nigeria.
The journey in promoting biotechnology in Nigeria would not have reached the stage where we are now without OFAB.
OFAB had to go to the various assemblies in terms of the National Assembly and also to the Senate. And we were able to interact and had so many ministers in attendance.
The only way to improve governance is to bring good laws, good governance through good legislations. Then I said, well, I'm going to craft biosafety. Even our neighbor country, Ivory Coast and all whatnot, if you see what they're trying to do and what they've done, I said, then why will the giant of Africa not do something? How do we improve the lot of our people? I came to the conclusion that oil will not do it. That is only through agriculture, and only agriculture that can place food on our table.
The tireless efforts of OFAB and collaborators, especially members of the National Assembly, finally bore fruit when the 7th National Assembly and the Senate passed the National Biosafety Bill and was assented to by the former President of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. And so, the National Biosafety Agency Bill became an act on 21st April 2015.
When I was the chairman House Committee on Agriculture, I had this challenge that Biosafety Bill is very important, especially for our agricultural development, in view of the fact that despite the vast land we have and the natural resources we have, we are yet to harness those resources. And in view of the hygienic nature of what we need for most of these our crops, it has been advised that the first thing we need to do first is safety. And that's what led to Biosafety Bill, that okay, before we even go into all these bee cutting and bee corn and what to have for purpose of having enough produce of food products. We believe that the first thing as a nation and as a country is to ensure that there is safety of these products.
We had a little hard time convincing my colleagues because you can also, there's also a press war saying that genetic modified things comes with its own problems and so on. Of course, nothing is very, very free. There must be, and I told them that is the very reason why that law must be in place. So you can review them scientifically and then get approval, and before you can now begin to circulate. So when I looked at it, I said, well, until we come to a situation where we can afford to put food on our tables and we're able to export enough food sufficiency and alternative to oil, these are the two things that made me to go into such a bill.
OFAB single-handedly facilitated the passage of that bill at the National Assembly. The lawmakers were well sensitized. We held several sensitization workshops to properly educate them, to give them the science behind the development of genetically modified crops.
And so it is to this extent that OFAB has been instrumental in what we have been able to achieve, particularly with the passage of the Biosafety Bill into law. Without OFAB, we would probably be, running after that bill up till now.
With this, of course, we can transit, Nigeria can transit from this subsistence farming that farmers have been enslaved into to business farming.
OFAB Nigeria has made tremendous progress in establishing and managing a wide range of platforms to enhance knowledge sharing, awareness, better understanding, and appreciation of the increasingly important role that modern biotechnology plays in agricultural productivity with a biosafety law in place. OFAB Nigeria began to galvanize the stakeholders to create awareness and buy-in among the populace.
OFAB has been one of the greatest things that has actually helped to propagate the issue of biotechnology and biosafety in Nigeria.
And OFAB has been instrumental in ensuring that biotechnology promotion and awareness creation with the public.
OFAB represents a platform where all and sundry come under.
Many institutions now are now offering biotech at BSc, MSc, even at professorial level. All those ones, I think, is the achievement of OFAB.
One of the key success of OFAB Nigeria was in the area of media engagement that changed the reporting on biotechnology from sensational, biased, and inaccurate stories to a more factual, evidence-based, and credible one.
The OFAB as a platform has done significantly well in terms of sensitization of the generality of the public, and then bringing forth issues around agricultural biotechnology so that people will have a clearer and a better perspective of the technology and what it holds for mankind.
And without the media, there's no way we could have come this far. The media has played a role, very major role, and that's why we deemed it fit to actually appreciate them by putting up this award system to motivate them so that they can do more and learn more.
It has been a platform to educate, to synthesize, and create a kind of awareness to various stakeholders, in the country, civil society organizations, agricultural-based stakeholders, and even people in government, because there are a lot of notions and misconceptions about what biosafety bill or biotechnology is even all about.
The OFAB Nigeria chapter has facilitated various confirmed field trials of GM crops, particularly the pod borer-resistant cowpea, BT cotton, the biofortified sorghum, and newest rice.
For us in Nigeria, OFAB is the only way to go after oil. OFAB is the only way it should be looked at. The way we're looking at communication, oil sector, we should look at OFAB as the immediate option outside oil. Alternative to oil is to go to OFAB. That's what I'm saying. We must look at that sector very well. We must encourage that agency. We must grab them. And then we should, in Nigeria, OFAB should help us to do more programs in Nigeria so they can sensitize farmers in all sectors so that we may have sufficient food on our table.
Biotechnology will contribute to agriculture becoming the mainstay of the economy, especially at this time that we are talking about economic diversification. There's no way we can diversify the economy without making agriculture a business.
And this will solve a big problem in terms of the objective of the present government that we should produce what we eat.
If I have any opportunity in future, like I said, I'm ready to stick out my neck to support OFAB and to support biotechnology because we've seen it working.
There are crops that are indigenous to Africa that need to be improved upon. The Western world will not take them up for us. We need to work on these crops. And so sensitizing the government of, on the African continent is a task that OFAB must take up.
Experts have said if the country successfully commercializes GM crops, other African countries, especially in the West African region, will follow suit, given the country's economic and political influence on the continent.